The wrench was too heavy. Takriel pulled with both his small arms, but the metal tool would not move. His claws scratched against the floor of the docking bay as he tried again. The wrench was twice his size, maybe 3 times. He was only 7 cycles old, still a cub, and his muscles were not strong yet. His mother's ship sat broken behind him. The engine cover was open, showing the damaged parts inside. They needed to fix it soon, or they would be stuck on this station for many more days. His mother, Shira, was inside the station buying parts. His father, Vector, was talking to the station master about docking fees. That left Takriel alone with the broken ship and the impossible wrench. He pulled again. The wrench moved a little bit this time. His arms shook with effort. Sweat formed on his fur, making it stick to his skin. He hated feeling weak. Back home on Vexar Prime, the other cubs would laugh at him if they saw this. But here, on this neutral station far from home, no one was watching, or so he thought. Need some help with that? The voice came from behind him. Takriel jumped, his fur standing up in fear. He spun around, his small fangs showing automatically. That was the predator response his parents taught him. Show your teeth when surprised. Look dangerous. But the creature standing there did not look scared at all. In fact, it was smiling. It was a human. Takriel had heard stories about humans. Every cub in the galaxy heard those stories. Humans came from a death world called Earth. They were persistence hunters, the kind of predator that followed prey for days until the prey died from exhaustion. They could run forever. They could survive almost anything. They could eat foods that would poison other species. They were dangerous, but this human did not look dangerous. He was tall, yes, much taller than Takriel. He wore simple work clothes covered in oil stains and dirt. His hair was black and cut short. His eyes were kind, not cold like a predator's eyes should be. He was still smiling. I'm Hyun, the human said. I work here as an engineer. I saw you struggling with that wrench. It's a big one, isn't it? Takriel did not know what to say. His parents told him to be careful around humans. They told him humans were unpredictable. But they also told him to be polite to all species on neutral stations. These were the rules of space travel. I need to fix my family's ship, Takriel said quietly. His voice sounded small and weak. He hated that too, Hyun nodded. He walked closer and Takriel's instincts screamed at him to run, but he stayed still. Running would be shameful. He was a Vexar, a proud predator species. He would not run from anyone. Hyun reached down and picked up the wrench with one hand. One hand. He lifted it like it weighed nothing at all. Takriel's eyes grew wide. The wrench that he could not move at all, this human lifted it as easily as picking up a small stone. This is a torque wrench, Hyun said, looking at the tool. Very useful, but very heavy. Even adult Vexar would find this one difficult. You're just a kid, right? No shame in asking for help. I'm not a kid, Takriel said quickly. I'm 7 cycles old. That's almost grown. Hyun smiled again, but it was not a mean smile. It was the kind of smile Takriel's father gave him when he said something young and foolish. Almost grown, Hyun repeated. Okay. Well, almost grown Takriel, how about I help you with this repair? I can teach you how to do it properly. Then next time you'll know what to do. Takriel hesitated. Accept help from a human? What would his parents say? But the ship needed fixing. And Hyun seemed nice. Strange, but nice. Okay, Takriel said. Hyun knelt down next to the engine. He pointed at different parts, explaining what each one did. Takriel listened carefully. Hyun knew a lot about ships. He knew about Vexar engines, which surprised Takriel. Most species did not bother learning about other species' technology. See this coupling here? Hyun said, pointing with one long finger. It's cracked. That's why your engine is leaking coolant. We need to remove it, clean the threads, and put in a new one. The wrench is for loosening these bolts. Hyun positioned the wrench on the first bolt. Then he did something unexpected. He moved aside and gestured for Takriel to try. Put your paws here and here, Hyun said. I'll help you pull. We'll do it together. Takriel put his small paws on the wrench where Hyun showed him. Hyun put his hands next to Takriel's paws. Together they pulled. The bolt turned! It actually turned. They worked like this for a while, removing bolts one at a time. Hyun let Takriel do as much as he could, only adding his strength when needed. He talked while they worked, telling Takriel about different tools and techniques. He did not talk down to Takriel like adults usually did. He talked to him like an equal, like someone worth teaching. Why are you helping me? Takriel asked suddenly. The question came out before he could stop it. Hyun paused. He sat back on his heels and looked at Takriel with those strange, kind eyes. Why not? Hyun said. You need help. I can give help. That's reason enough, isn't it? But you're human. Humans are... Takriel stopped. He did not want to be rude. Scary? Hyun finished for him. He did not look angry.
Yeah, I know what other species say about us.
Death world predators, persistence hunters, dangerous. All of that is true in a way, but it's not the whole truth. He picked up a small tool and spun it in his fingers as he talked. Humans are predators, yes, but we're also protectors. We hunt, but we also help. We fight, but we also build. We can be dangerous, but we choose to be kind. That's what makes us human. Takriel thought about this. He watched Hyun's face looking for lies, but he saw none. Hyun believed what he was saying. My mother says humans are not to be trusted, Takriel said quietly. Your mother is being careful, Hyun said. That's smart. Parents should protect their children. But maybe, after today, she'll see that some humans are okay. They went back to work. Takriel felt less afraid now. Hyun's presence became comfortable instead of scary. They removed the broken coupling together. Hyun showed Takriel how to clean the threads with a wire brush. He explained why each step was important. Time passed quickly. Before Takriel knew it, they had the new coupling ready to install. Hyun was showing him how to tighten it properly when a voice called out, Takriel. It was his mother. Shira stood at the entrance to the docking bay, her arms full of parts and supplies. She saw Takriel and Hyun together and her expression changed. Her eyes narrowed. Her fur fluffed up slightly the way it did when she felt threatened. She dropped the supplies and ran toward them. Not walked, ran, get away from my son, she shouted at Hyun. Hyun immediately stood up and backed away, his hands raised in a peaceful gesture. Takriel jumped up too, surprised by his mother's reaction. Mother, wait, Takriel said. He was helping me. He's nice. But Shira was not listening. She grabbed Takriel and pulled him behind her, putting her body between him and the human. She bared her fangs at Hyun, her claws extending. Hyun did not move. He did not threaten. He just stood there, calm and still, with his hands up where she could see them. Ma'am, Hyun said quietly, I mean no harm. Your son needed help with the repair. I was teaching him. That's all. I did not give you permission to touch my child, Shira hissed. You're right, Hyun said. I should have waited for a parent. I apologize. I only wanted to help. The tension hung in the air like smoke. Takriel peeked around his mother's side, looking at Hyun. The human looked sad now, not scared. Just sad. Please, mother, Takriel said. He really was just helping. Look, we almost fixed the coupling. Shira's eyes flicked to the engine, seeing the work they had done. Her expression softened slightly, but she did not lower her guard. The next morning, Takriel woke up thinking about Hyun. His mother had not been happy yesterday. After Hyun left the docking bay, she had lectured Takriel for a long time about talking to strangers, especially human strangers. But she had also admitted that the repair work was done well. Very well, in fact, the ship's engine was running smoothly now. Hyun had returned later when Takriel's father was present and helped them finish the job. Vector had been cautious at first, but by the end he was impressed. Humans knew their way around machines, he said. That was undeniable. Takriel wanted to see Hyun again. He wanted to learn more about engineering, about ships, about everything the human knew, but his mother had forbidden it. Humans are not safe, she said firmly. They are predators like us, but different. We do not understand them yet. But Takriel was curious. Curiosity was a trait all young Vexar had. It was what made them good hunters when they grew up. So when his mother went to the station market and his father went to file departure documents, Takriel sneaked out of the ship. The station was big, much bigger than their small vessel. Corridors stretched in all directions, filled with species from across the galaxy. Takriel saw tall Girath with their 4 arms, small Pixith with their glowing skin, even a group of crystalline Shenlor floating past him. But no humans. Humans were rare out here, far from Earth. He searched for almost an hour before he found the engineering section. It was deep in the station where the air smelled like oil and hot metal. Large machinery hummed all around. Takriel felt small here, surrounded by equipment he did not understand. Lost kid? Takriel spun around. It was not Hyun, but another human. This one was female, with long black hair tied back in a practical style. She wore the same kind of work clothes as Hyun, but hers had more patches and stains. She looked tired, like she had been working for many hours. "I'm looking for Hyun," Takriel said, trying to sound brave. The female human raised her eyebrows. "Hyun? You mean the guy who helped fix a Vexar ship yesterday?" "That Hyun?" "Yes," Takriel said. "Is he here?" She pointed down a side corridor. "Third door on the left. He's probably working on the coolant recycler. But kid, does your family know you're here?" Takriel did not answer. He just ran in the direction she pointed. He found Hyun exactly where she said he would be. The human was lying on his back under a large machine, only his legs visible. Takriel could hear him muttering to himself as he worked. Tools were scattered all around him on the floor. "Hyun?" Takriel called out quietly. The muttering stopped. Hyun slid out from under the machine on a small wheeled board. His face was covered in dark grease and he was smiling. "Takriel, what are you doing here? Does your mother know?" Takriel shook his head. Hyun sat up, wiping his hands on a cloth. "Oh boy, we're both in trouble then, aren't we?" "I wanted to learn more," Takriel said quickly. "You said you would teach me about engineering and ships and everything. Please, I'll go back before my mother notices. Please." Hyun looked at him for a long moment. Then he sighed, but he was still smiling. "Okay, but just for a little while. And you have to promise to go straight back after, okay? I don't want your mother thinking I kidnapped you or something." "I promise," Takriel said eagerly. For the next 2 hours, Hyun taught Takriel about the station's systems. He showed him how the water recyclers worked, turning wastewater back into clean water. He explained the air circulation system, how it cleaned and cooled the air that everyone breathed. He demonstrated how the power generators turned fuel into electricity. Takriel absorbed everything like a sponge. His mind worked fast, making connections and asking questions. Hyun seemed impressed by how quickly he learned. "You're smart, kid," Hyun said at one point. "Really smart. You could be a great engineer someday." "Really?" Takriel asked. The praise made him feel warm inside. "Really. You just need practice and patience. Engineering is not about being strong. It's about being clever and persistent." "Persistent like humans?" Takriel asked. Hyun laughed. "Yeah, I guess so. Persistence is kind of our thing." Another human came by while they were working. It was the female from earlier. She looked at Takriel and shook her head, but she was smiling. "You're going to get in trouble, Hyun," she said. "Probably," Hyun agreed. "Oh, Takriel, this is Minji. She's the senior engineer here. She's my boss." "Hello," Takriel said politely, bowing his head the way his parents taught him. Minji seemed surprised by the gesture. "Polite kid. Not like most cubs I've met. Most predator species cubs are all teeth and claws." "I have teeth and claws too," Takriel said, feeling defensive. He showed his small fangs. Minji laughed. "I'm sure you do, kid. But being polite is better than being scary." Remember that. She left them alone after that. Hyun and Takriel continued working together. Hyun let Takriel hold tools and hand him parts. He explained what each tool was for and when to use it. He never got angry when Takriel made mistakes. He just showed him the right way and let him try again. "Why are humans so strong?" Takriel asked suddenly. "Yesterday you lifted that wrench with one hand. My father would need 2 hands for that. And he's full grown." Hyun paused his work. "Humans come from a heavy world," he said. "Earth has strong gravity. When we're born, we're constantly being pulled down harder than on most planets. Our muscles develop to fight that pull. Our bones grow thick and dense. When we come to stations like this, where gravity is lighter, we're stronger than we would be at home." "Is Earth really a death world?" Takriel asked. "Depends on what you mean by death world," Hyun said. "It's dangerous, yes. We have predators bigger than us. We have storms that can destroy cities. We have diseases and poisons and 1,000 ways to die. But it's also beautiful. It has forests and oceans and mountains. It has millions of different plants and animals. It's complicated. Do you miss it?" Takriel asked. Hyun smiled, but it was a sad smile this time. "Every day. But I like traveling too. I like seeing new places and meeting new species. I like helping people fix their ships so they can go home to their own planets." They talked about many things while they worked. Hyun told Takriel about Earth cities, about human food, about the different cultures that humans had. Takriel told Hyun about Vexar Prime, about the great hunts, about his family's trading business. Time passed too quickly. Before Takriel realized it, 3 hours had gone by. He was supposed to be back by now. "I have to go," he said suddenly, jumping up. "Wait," Hyun said. He reached into a toolbox and pulled out a small multi-tool. It had screwdrivers, pliers, wire cutters, and other instruments all folded into one compact device. Here, take this. Every engineer needs good tools. I can't, Takriel said. It's too much. It's a gift, Hyun said firmly. From one engineer to another. Take care of it and it'll last you a lifetime. Takriel took the multi-tool carefully. It was light, made of some metal he did not recognize. It felt good in his paws. Thank you, he said quietly. You're welcome. Now go before your mother sends a search party. Takriel ran back through the corridors as fast as he could. His hearts were pounding with fear and excitement. Fear that he would be caught. Excitement about everything he had learned. When he reached the docking bay, his mother was standing outside their ship, looking worried and angry. His father was with her, his expression dark. Where have you been? Shira demanded. I was exploring the station, Takriel said. It was not exactly a lie. For 3 hours, without telling anyone. Vector said. His voice was low and dangerous. Takriel looked down at his feet. He knew he was in trouble, but then his mother saw the multi-tool in his paw. What is that? Where did you get it? Hyun gave it to me, Takriel said quietly. The human engineer. I went to see him. He was teaching me about station systems and... You went to see the human? Shira's voice rose. After I specifically told you not to? He's not dangerous, Mother. He's nice. He just wants to teach me things. You do not know what he wants, Shira said. Humans are unpredictable. They are what? A new voice said. Everyone turned. Hyun stood at the entrance to the docking bay holding a datapad. Minji was with him. We came to deliver the station inspection report for your ship, Hyun said calmly. Everything passed. You're cleared for departure whenever you're ready. The tension was thick in the air. Shira's fur was fluffed up again. Vector's hand moved closer to the blade at his belt. But Hyun and Minji did not look threatening. They just looked professional. Thank you for the report, Vector said stiffly. Please leave it by the gangway. Hyun set down the datapad. But before he left, he looked at Takriel. Keep practicing, kid. You've got talent. Then he and Minji walked away. The alarm started 3 days later. Takriel's family had decided to stay on the station a bit longer to trade with some merchants who were arriving. The extra money would be good for their business. So they waited, and Takriel spent his time practicing with the multi-tool Hyun had given him. He was in the ship's cargo bay, taking apart a broken cargo scanner, when the alarm began. It was not the gentle beeping of a test alarm. It was a harsh, urgent wailing that made his fur stand on end. His mother rushed into the cargo bay. Takriel, stay here. Lock the door behind me. What's happening? Takriel asked, fear rising in his chest. Pirates, Shira said grimly. They're boarding the station. Your father and I need to secure our goods. Stay here and hide. Do not open this door for anyone except us. She was gone before he could ask more questions. Takriel heard the cargo bay door lock behind her. He was alone. The alarm kept wailing. Through the ship's thin walls, he could hear shouting outside, weapons firing, people screaming. His 2 hearts beat so fast he thought they might burst. He wanted to help. He wanted to do something. But he was just a cub. What could he do against pirates? The multi-tool was still in his paw. He looked at it, remembering Hyun's words. Persistence is kind of our thing. Maybe he could not fight, but he could prepare. He could be ready. Takriel moved through the ship, checking the doors and windows. He made sure everything was locked tight. He found his father's emergency kit and pulled out a small emergency beacon. If things got bad, he could activate it. Someone would come, maybe. The sounds outside got worse. More weapons fire, closer now. Something exploded in the distance, making the whole ship shake. Takriel crouched behind a cargo container, making himself as small as possible. Then he heard voices outside the ship. Not his parents' voices. Stranger voices speaking in a language he did not know. They were trying to open the ship's main door. Terror filled Takriel. Pirates. They were trying to get in. The door held for a few minutes, but then there was a loud bang and the sound of metal breaking. They had forced it open. Heavy footsteps entered the ship. Check everything, a rough voice said in common tongue. Take anything valuable.
Kill anyone you find. Kill! They said kill so casually, like it meant nothing. Takriel's paws shook.
He pressed himself tighter against the cargo container. Please, he thought. Please let them not find me. The footsteps came closer to the cargo bay. The door handle turned, but it was locked. Someone pounded on the door. Locked, another voice said. Want me to blast it? Do it quick. We don't have much time before station security responds. Takriel knew he had seconds at most. He looked around desperately for somewhere better to hide. There was a ventilation shaft in the corner. It would be tight, but he might fit. He scrambled toward it just as the cargo bay door exploded inward. The blast threw him forward. He hit the wall hard and everything went dark for a moment. When his vision cleared, 3 pirates stood in the ruined doorway. They were krill, a species known for their cruelty. They had 4 arms, sharp beaks, and eyes that saw well in darkness. One of them spotted Takriel immediately. Hey, look, the pirate said, grinning with his beak. A little Vexar cub. How cute. Kill it, the leader said without emotion. Kids grow into problems. The pirate raised his weapon. Takriel closed his eyes. He thought of his mother and father. He hoped they were safe. He hoped they would not be sad for too long, but the shot never came. Instead, there was a wet sound like something cutting through flesh. The pirate made a choking noise and fell to the floor. His weapon clattered beside him. Takriel opened his eyes. Hyun stood in the doorway behind where the pirates had been. But he looked different. His friendly expression was gone. His eyes were cold and focused. He held a long blade in one hand, blood dripping from it. The blood was not his. The other 2 pirates spun around, raising their weapons, but Hyun moved faster than Takriel thought possible. He was a blur of motion. The blade flashed twice. Both pirates fell. It happened so fast. One moment they were alive and threatening. The next moment they were on the floor, not moving. Hyun's chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. He looked at Takriel, and for a moment his expression remained cold and dangerous. Then it softened. The friendly Hyun came back. Are you hurt? Hyun asked, his voice gentle despite what had just happened. Takriel could not speak. He could only shake his head. Good. Stay behind me. We need to get you somewhere safe. Hyun moved to the doorway and looked out carefully. He held the blade ready, his body tense like a coiled spring. This was not the patient teacher who had shown Takriel how to fix engines. This was something else. This was the predator everyone warned about. A voice crackled through a communication device on Hyun's belt. Hyun, report. What's your position? Docking Bay 7, Hyun said quietly into the device. I have a civilian child. 3 hostiles down, heading to Secure Zone Alpha. Copy that. Minji is clearing Corridor 4. Station security is hiding in their office, useless. As expected. How many hostiles total? We count 12 boarding, probably more. They're after the trading goods in the central market. On my way. Keep civilians protected. Hyun turned back to Takriel. Can you walk? Takriel nodded, still unable to find words. Stay close to me. Do exactly what I say when I say it. Understand? Another nod. They moved out of the ship together. The docking bay was chaos. Several ships had their doors broken open. Goods were scattered everywhere. 2 more pirates were going through containers looking for valuables. Hyun moved silently along the wall, keeping Takriel behind him. They were almost past when one of the pirates turned and saw them. Human, the pirate shouted, raising his weapon. Hyun pushed Takriel down and rolled forward. The weapon fired, but Hyun was already moving. He came up inside the pirate's guard and struck with the blade. The pirate fell. The second pirate turned and fired. The shot hit Hyun in the shoulder, spinning him around. But he did not fall. He threw the blade with his good arm. It flew through the air and struck the pirate in the chest. Hyun walked over and pulled the blade free, his face showing no emotion. Blood ran down his arm from his wound, but he acted like it did not hurt at all. Are you okay? Takriel asked, finally finding his voice. I'm fine, Hyun said. Humans can take a lot of damage. We're persistence hunters, remember? We don't stop until the hunt is done. They continued through the station. Twice more they encountered pirates. Both times Hyun dealt with them efficiently and quietly. He moved like a ghost, appearing behind enemies before they knew he was there. His blade did its work quickly. Takriel realized something as he watched. Hyun was not just strong or fast. He was smart. He used the environment, staying in shadows, using noise from the alarm to cover his movements. He predicted where enemies would look and avoided those places. He was hunting them, and they did not even know they were prey. They reached the secure zone, a reinforced section of the station where civilians were supposed to go during emergencies. But the door was damaged, hanging open. Inside, Takriel could see people huddled in fear. His parents were there. "Mother, father," he called out. Shira and Vector looked up. Relief flooded their faces when they saw Takriel. But then they saw Hyun covered in blood and their expressions changed to alarm. "It's okay," Takriel said quickly. "He saved me. He killed the pirates who broke into our ship." Hyun bowed his head slightly to Takriel's parents. "Your son is brave." He stayed calm when others would have panicked. Before they could respond, Minji appeared from another corridor. She was also covered in blood and carrying weapons. She looked at Hyun's shoulder wound. "You're hit," she said. "Surface wound," Hyun replied. "How many left?" "I counted 5 still active. They're regrouping near the market, probably planning to fight their way back to their ship with whatever they can carry. Then we stop them before they reach it," Hyun said. His voice was cold again. "Hyun," Vector said, stepping forward. "You are injured. Let station security handle this." "Station security are Felix," Hyun said. "Herbivore species. They run from predators. It's their instinct. No shame in it, but they cannot help here. Only Minji and I are qualified for this." "You are engineers, not soldiers," Shira protested. Hyun looked at her with those cold eyes. "Before I was an engineer, I was a soldier. So is Minji. We know what we're doing." He turned to Minji. "Keep the civilians safe. I'll draw the pirates toward Docking Bay 3. You cut them off from behind." "That's suicide," Minji said. 5 against 1? I don't need to beat them all. I just need to keep them busy until you get in position. Besides," Hyun smiled, but it was not his friendly smile. It was the smile of a predator about to hunt. "They should be scared of me, not the other way around." Hyun left the secure zone alone. Minji waited 30 seconds, then followed a different route. Takriel watched them go, his heart's pounding with fear for the human who had saved his life. "We should help them," Takriel said to his parents. "Absolutely not," Shira said firmly. "You will stay here where it's safe." But Hyun is hurt. And there are 5 pirates. The human knows what he is doing, Vector said, though he looked uncertain. "I have heard stories about human soldiers. If even half of those stories are true, the pirates should be the ones who are afraid." Takriel could not just sit and wait. He moved to the doorway where he could see down the corridor. Other civilians joined him, curious despite their fear. They were all predator species. Vexar, krill merchants, even a Dorath trader with his thick armor plating. Yet they were all hiding while 2 humans went to fight. Through the station's communication system, they could hear the alarm still wailing. Then came the sound of weapons fire, distant but clear. A lot of weapons fire. Minutes passed like hours. The shooting continued, sometimes loud, sometimes quiet. Takriel gripped his multi-tool tightly, wishing he could do something. Then the sounds changed. Instead of random shooting, it became organized. Controlled bursts of fire, moving through the station in a pattern. Someone shouted in pain, but the voice was not human. More shooting. Another shout. Silence. Then Hyun's voice came over the station's public address system. He must have reached a control panel. "Attention remaining hostiles. This is Hyun Park, former Earth Defense Force. You are surrounded and outgunned. Surrender now and you will be treated according to Galactic merchant law. Continue fighting and you will be eliminated. You have 60 seconds to decide." The civilians in the secure zone looked at each other with wide eyes. Earth Defense Force, the elite military organization that protected human space? "I didn't know he was military," someone whispered. "Former military," another corrected. "But apparently still very good at it." The 60 seconds passed in tense silence. Then the shooting started again, but only briefly. 3 quick shots, then silence. 10 minutes later, Hyun and Minji returned to the secure zone. They were dragging 2 pirates who were tied up and looked terrified. Both humans were covered in more blood, some of it their own. Hyun's shoulder wound was worse now, and Minji had a cut across her forehead. But they were walking and alert. "Secure zone is clear," Hyun announced. These 2 surrendered. The others chose differently. "Station security can come out now. It's over." The station security finally emerged from their office. They were Felix, just as Hyun had said. Tall, thin herbivores with large eyes and nervous movements. They looked ashamed. We thank you for your assistance," the security chief said, not meeting Hyun's eyes. "Just doing what needed to be done," Hyun said. He swayed slightly on his feet and Minji caught his arm. "You need medical attention," she said. "So do you," Hyun replied. "But civilians first. Anyone hurt?" Several people had minor injuries from when the pirates had forced them into the secure zone. Hyun and Minji helped treat them despite their own wounds. They were patient and gentle, back to being the friendly engineers Tak-Ril knew. It was hard to believe these were the same people who had just eliminated pirates with such efficiency. Tak-Ril's father approached Hyun while he was bandaging a Dorath trader's arm. "You saved my son's life," Vector said quietly. "You saved all our lives. I was wrong about humans." "Wrong about you?" Hyun smiled, the friendly smile returning. "You weren't wrong to be cautious. Humans are dangerous. We're persistence predators, pursuit hunters, and when we decide to fight, we don't stop until the threat is gone. But we choose when to be dangerous. We choose who to protect and who to fight. That's what makes us different." "How did you know the pirates would attack today?" Shira asked, joining them. "I didn't know," Hyun said. "But Minji and I saw their ship dock yesterday. Old cargo vessel with too many weapon modifications. We flagged it to station security, but..." He shrugged. "Herbivore security is better at keeping peace than fighting wars. We kept watch just in case." "You were prepared," Vector said, understanding. "Always. It's hard to turn off military training. You're always watching, always planning, always ready for the worst. It's exhausting, honestly. That's why I became an engineer. Fixing things is more peaceful than breaking things." Tak-Ril could not stay quiet anymore. He pushed through the adults to stand in front of Hyun. "You were amazing," he said, his voice full of admiration. "You moved so fast and you knew exactly what to do and you weren't afraid at all." Hyun knelt down, wincing as the movement pulled at his wound. He looked Tak-Ril in the eyes. "I was terrified," he said seriously. "Fear is natural. Every human soldier feels fear. But we're trained to act despite the fear, to think clearly even when we're scared. That's not courage, Tak-Ril. That's just practice and discipline." "But you saved everyone," Tak-Ril insisted. "Minji saved half of everyone. I saved the other half. We work together. Humans are good at working together, especially in dangerous situations. It's how we survived on Earth. Our planet was full of things that could kill us, so we learned to cooperate, to plan, to be persistent. We're not the strongest species or the fastest, but we don't give up and we protect our own." "We're not your own," a Dorath trader said from nearby. "We're not human. Why risk your life for us?" Hyun stood up and looked around at all the civilians. "Station rules say everyone here is under station protection. That makes you our own while you're here. Besides, humans have a saying, we're all in this together. Life is hard everywhere in the galaxy. Why make it harder by not helping each other?" The medical supplies arrived then, brought by station personnel who had been hiding in the medical bay. A Felix doctor immediately started working on Hyun's shoulder, while another treated Minji's wounds. Hyun hissed in pain as the doctor cleaned his wound, but he did not complain. Tak-Ril watched, fascinated. The weapon blast had gone through flesh and muscle, but Hyun had kept fighting anyway. How much pain could humans endure? "Will he be okay?" Tak-Ril asked the doctor. Yes, the Felix doctor said nervously. "Humans heal remarkably well. Dense bones, redundant systems, efficient blood clotting. Very sturdy species. The wound is clean, no major damage. He'll be fine in a few days." "I could use a few days off anyway," Hyun joked weakly. Minji snorted. "You said that last month, then worked through your entire vacation fixing the water recycler." "The recycler was making that noise. I couldn't just leave it. You're obsessed. I'm dedicated. There's a difference." They bickered like this while the doctors worked, and Tak-Ril realized something. They were friends. Real friends who trusted each other completely. That's why they worked so well together in the fight. They knew each other's movements and thoughts. As the doctors finished their work, station management arrived. They were nervous but grateful. They offered rewards to Hyun and Minji for their heroic actions. Both humans refused. "Just doing our jobs," Hyun said. "Station engineers protect the station. That includes the people in it." "But you went far beyond," the station manager started. "No reward," Minji interrupted firmly. "But you can upgrade station security. Hire some people who can actually fight. Having only Felix guards is asking for trouble." "No offense," she added to the security chief. "None taken," the chief said quietly. "You are correct. We are not suited for combat." The next few hours were busy. Authorities arrived to take the surviving pirates away. Everyone gave statements about what happened. The station began repairs on damaged sections. Slowly, things returned to normal. Tak-Ril stayed close to Hyun the whole time. His parents noticed but did not object. They understood now. The human was not a threat to their son. He was a protector. When things finally calmed down, Hyun sat on a cargo container, exhausted. Takril climbed up and sat next to him. "Does it hurt a lot?" Takril asked, pointing at the bandaged shoulder. "Yes," Hyun admitted, "but it'll heal. Pain is temporary." "Were you scared when you fought them?" "Very scared. But I've learned to work through fear. It takes practice, and will you teach me?" Takril asked suddenly. "Not just engineering, everything. How to be brave like you. How to protect people." Hyun looked at him seriously. "Takril, you don't need to be like humans to be brave. Vexar are natural hunters, natural fighters. You have your own strengths, but—" He paused. "I can teach you to think like a human. To plan to be patient, to never give up. Those are skills anyone can learn." "I want to learn," Takril said firmly. Shira approached them then. She had heard the conversation. "If you're willing to teach him," she said to Hyun, "I will not object. I was wrong about you." "Very wrong. You have honor." Hyun bowed his head respectfully. "Thank you. But I should tell you, I'll be leaving this station in a few weeks. New assignment on a different station, so I can only teach him for a short time. Then we'll make the most of it," Takril said quickly before his mother could change her mind. The 3 weeks that followed were the best of Takril's young life. Every day, he went to the engineering section and learned from Hyun. Sometimes Minji taught him too, showing him different techniques and approaches. They taught him about machines, but also about problem-solving, patience, and persistence. Hyun's shoulder healed quickly, just as the doctor predicted. Within a week, he was back to full work duty, but he always made time for Takril. "Engineering is about understanding systems," Hyun explained one day. They were working on a communications array. Everything connects to everything else. Change one part and it affects the whole system. That's true for machines, but also for people, for societies, for everything. Takril thought about this while carefully adjusting a circuit board. "Is that why you helped me that first day? Because we're all part of the same system?" "Partly," Hyun said, "but also because you needed help and I could give it. Sometimes it's that simple." Other species on the station had changed their attitudes too. The story of how 2 human engineers fought off a dozen pirates had spread quickly. People looked at Hyun and Minji with new respect. Some with fear, yes, but also with gratitude. The Felix security chief came to visit Hyun one day. Takril was there learning about power distribution systems. "I wanted to apologize," the chief said quietly. "We failed in our duty to protect the station. You and Minji had to do what we could not." Hyun stopped his work and looked at the chief. "You didn't fail. You're just not built for combat. That's not weakness, that's biology. Herbivore species evolved to run from predators. It's smart survival strategy." "But we're supposed to protect people," the chief said. "There are many ways to protect people," Hyun replied. "You keep the peace during normal times. You handle disputes, manage traffic, maintain order. That's important work. But when violence comes, you need predators to fight predators. That's just reality. My recommendation? Hire some human or Vexar security officers. Let them handle combat while you handle everything else." The chief nodded slowly. "The station management agrees. We're hiring 3 human security officers next month. Would you consider—" "No," Hyun said, but kindly. "I'm an engineer now. I fought because I had to, not because I wanted to. I prefer fixing things to breaking things." After the chief left, Takril asked, "Do you really not like fighting?" "I hate fighting," Hyun said firmly. "War is terrible. Violence is terrible. I've seen what it does to people, to families, to entire planets. That's why I became an engineer. Building things is better than destroying things. Creating is better than killing." "But you're so good at fighting," Takril said. "Being good at something doesn't mean you should do it." Hyun explained. "I'm good at fighting because I trained hard and survived long enough to learn. But just because I can fight doesn't mean I should. Humans have a choice. We can be warriors or we can be builders. I choose to build." This confused Takril. "On Vexar Prime, the best hunters were celebrated. If you were good at something, you did it. That was the way." Seeing his confusion, Hyun continued. "Humans believe in something called potential versus purpose. Just because you have potential to do something doesn't mean that's your purpose. I have potential to be a soldier, but my purpose is to be an engineer. You have potential to be many things, Takril. You get to choose your purpose." This idea fascinated Takril. He thought about it for days. During the second week, Minji taught Takril about human history. They were taking a break from engineering work. Eating lunch in the station cafeteria. Humans fought each other for most of our history, Minji said. Nation against nation, tribe against tribe, sometimes person against person. We were very good at killing each other. What changed? Takriel asked. We met alien species, Minji said. We went to space expecting to find enemies. Instead, we found people just trying to survive, just like us. We realized that if we could stop fighting each other and work together, we could accomplish amazing things. So we did. Was it hard? To stop fighting? Very hard. Some humans still want to fight. That's our predator instinct. But most of us choose peace now. We choose cooperation. It's a daily choice, not a permanent change. Every human has to decide every day to be better than our instincts. Takriel understood this better than most species would. Vexar also had strong predator instincts, the urge to hunt, to fight, to dominate. His parents taught him to control these urges, to be civilized. But it was always there under the surface. Is that why other species are afraid of humans? Takriel asked. Because you choose to be peaceful, but you could choose differently? Minji nodded. Exactly. Other species are peaceful because that's their nature. Humans are peaceful because we choose to be. That makes us unpredictable, and unpredictable predators are scary. On the third week, Takriel's family received news. Their trading business had secured a major contract. They needed to leave the station soon to fulfill it. Takriel was happy for his family but sad to leave his teachers. On his last day, Hyun gave him a gift. It was a datapad loaded with engineering manuals, tutorials, and reference materials. Everything I know about engineering is in here, Hyun said. Study it, practice it, and someday you'll be a better engineer than me. I doubt that, Takriel said, but he clutched the datapad gratefully. Minji gave him a gift too. It was a small patch, the kind that soldiers wore on their uniforms. It showed the Earth Defense Force symbol. This was mine, she said, from when I served. I want you to have it, not because I want you to be a soldier, but because of what it represents. Protecting others, working together, never giving up. Those are good values for anyone, engineer or not. Takriel felt tears forming in his eyes. Vexar did not cry often, but he could not help it. Thank you, he said quietly. Thank you for everything. For teaching me, for saving me, for showing me that humans are not what everyone says they are. Humans are exactly what everyone says we are. Hyun corrected gently. We are dangerous. We are predators. We are persistent and strong and difficult to kill, but we're also kind and creative and willing to help. We're complicated, just like every other species, just like every person. Don't judge humans as a group. Judge each human as an individual. On the day of departure, many people came to see Takriel's family off. The station had become fond of the young Vexar cub who spent his time in the engineering section, instead of playing with other children. Hyun and Minji were there, of course. Hyun's shoulder was completely healed now, with only a small scar remaining. Minji's forehead cut had healed too, barely visible under her hair. Keep practicing, Hyun said, shaking Takriel's paw formally. And remember, persistence is key. Don't give up when things get hard. I won't, Takriel promised. Minji ruffled the fur on his head affectionately. And be good to your parents. They're good people. Shira and Vector thanked the humans again. Vector bowed deeply, a sign of great respect among Vexar. You changed how I see humans, Vector said. I will spread the word among my people. Not all humans are to be feared. Some are to be respected and admired. That's all we ask, Hyun said. A chance to be judged as individuals, not as a species. As Takriel's family walked toward their ship, Takriel looked back one more time. Hyun and Minji stood together, waving. They looked like normal engineers again, not the deadly fighters he had seen during the pirate attack. But he knew the truth now. They were both. They chose to be kind, but they could be dangerous when needed. That was the human way. Years later, Takriel would become a famous engineer. He would design ships that traveled farther and faster than anyone thought possible. He would teach other young engineers, sharing knowledge freely just as Hyun had shared with him. And he would always keep the multi-tool and the Earth Defense Force patch, reminders of the time a human saw a struggling cub and chose to help. The story spread across the galaxy. Not the exciting parts about the pirate battle, though those stories spread too. The important story was simpler. A human engineer saw a predator cub struggling with a wrench twice his size, and the human simply smiled and lent a hand. It became a saying among traders and travelers. Be like the human with the wrench, they would say. See someone struggling and help them. That's civilization. That's how we all survive in this vast galaxy together. Other species slowly changed their views on humans. They were still cautious, still aware of humanity's potential for violence, but they also recognized humanity's capacity for kindness, for teaching, for protecting the weak. Humans remained the most feared predator species in known space, but they also became the most respected, not because they were the strongest or the fastest, but because they chose to use their strength to protect rather than to dominate. They chose to teach rather than to conquer. They chose kindness when cruelty would have been easier. Takriel never forgot his lessons. When he had children of his own, he taught them about humans. Not to fear them, but to respect them. To understand that the most dangerous creature in the galaxy could also be the most gentle. That predators could choose to be protectors. That strength without compassion was hollow, but compassion backed by strength could change the world. The multi-tool Hyun gave him still worked perfectly decades later. Takriel used it for every major project and it never failed him. Just like Hyun promised, it lasted a lifetime.